Maine Game Warden pilots are the envy of bush pilots across the United States. They're a unique breed with a distinct skill that is anything but standard for most pilots. They're pilots who land at airports, and then there are game warden pilots who fly with pontoons and skis, land on small lakes and ponds and rivers in the summer, snow-covered fields in the winter, and ice-covered lakes and ponds that no one could call a landing strip, let alone an airport.
Josh, you never considered yourself a hero, but you found the missing, even if it meant you would return homely to us. This was true dedication. What am I going to do without our daily texts, our funny jokes to make me smile, and phone calls telling me about the adventures you had had that day? Finding a missing person, an injured hiker, or just flying over amazing places. You'd send me breathtaking photos from the clouds, flying above the treetops. You truly loved your job.
Let me begin by extending a grateful welcome to all who have blessed this place and time with your presence as we mourn and remember and honor Warden Pilot Joshua Tibbetts. Dearly beloved, we gather today in the presence of God because a fine man was taken from us. Too early, too young, too suddenly, too soon.
Thoughtful, reflective, and remarkably strong, Josh found true reward in helping and supporting people in their most difficult, desperate moments. Josh was proud to do this work, but it also weighed heavily on his big heart. We talked about that weight often, and I was just glad I could be there for him to listen and to try to understand.
Josh would often stop by my office and we would talk about work, but also we would talk about his love for flying and his favorite World War II plane, the P-38 Lightning. But what Josh talked about the most was his daughters. And when he would talk about Allison and Vivian and later Madison, you could see how proud he was of them. When Josh talked about them, he would beam with pride.
When people talk about my dad, they talk about his career, his service, and the impact he had on others. My dad was somebody people looked up to. He dedicated his life to helping others, protecting people, and serving his community. So many people knew him through his work and respected him for it, but what I'll remember most are the parts of him that belonged to just us and our family. My dad taught me so many things without even trying. He taught me to be strong, to care about people, to keep going when things are hard. Thank you for everything you gave us. Thank you for the memories, the lessons, the adventures, and the love. I'll carry the memories with me forever.
I first met Josh and his parents, retired Game Warden Lieutenant Doug Tibbetts, his wife Barbara, back in 1985. Josh was just 9 or 10 years old at the time. Could any of us have imagined over 40 years later we'd be here where we are today? If we would any of us chosen a different path? Probably not. This is a unique and coveted position that few can attain. In over 150 waters throughout the state, they help stock fish by airplane, as Josh was doing last week. For those who love to fish and travel to these remote ponds, it's quite likely you've caught a brook trout or a landlocked salmon that was delivered by plane and placed into that pond by a highly skilled game warden pilot like Josh Tibbetts. Josh did all these things with a big smile, as we've all heard, accompanied by a sense of pride that runs deep in his family. I know the next time I'm out trout fishing on these remote ponds, and I'm lucky enough to fool a trout to take my fly or a worm, I'll be thinking of Josh, how lucky I am to have seen that little boy grow up to attain his dream of flying for the Maine Warden Service. Josh, you left an indelible mark on Maine, and you'll not be forgotten.
In our business, we so often talk about ultimate sacrifice. We understand sacrifice. That's why there is a wave of green, blue, and brown here honoring Josh. Pressed pants, polished boots, standing at the ready. However, I can't help but reflect on Doug's 40 years as a Maine Game Warden. That's 40 years your family has already given to the Maine Warden Service, and now your son has given his life in the line of duty. We can't lift that sorrow from you, but we can walk with you as you bear it. We promise that Josh will never be forgotten and that the Tibbetts family will always belong to the Maine Warden Service family. It may not be evident right now, but Josh's sacrifice will make us a better agency, even in death, as he did in life. As we move forward, tucked into our hidey holes, or lying in the bushes on the side of some pond, and we hear that distinct sound of an approaching 185 overhead, we'll have to wonder if that's Tibbetts coming back to check on us. Josh, thanks for your ultimate sacrifice, your selfless dedication to the people and the natural resources of the state of Maine. Rest in peace.
All units, 2203, Game Warden Pilot Joshua Tibbetts. I show you 10/7 for the final time. End of watch, Tuesday, May 12, 2026. Thank you for your service. We have the watch from here. Dispatch clear.